I'm Chris Graham, and somehow I get to be a prosecutor tomorrow. Chris Graham here, Augusta Free Press. This is a weird story. I hadn't, I've been reporting on news for 30 years. I'm 53 years old. I've got a college degree in American government, with a emphasis within that in constitutional law, which means nothing to going to court or anything else. But all right, let me just start at the beginning, I guess. The prosecution of a Staunton tow truck company owner charged with misdemeanor reckless driving in a coal rolling incident at the Augusta County Courthouse on April 5th, which I've written extensively about in the last couple of months. The prosecution is going to be handled by me. Here's a quote from the assistant Commonwealth attorney in the Commonwealth Attorney's Office in Staunton, a guy named Cody Bowen. The quote, upon due consideration, I will not be participating in the prosecution of this citizen obtained criminal complaint. Okay. I was today years old when I learned that, and this is another quote, the Commonwealth's involvement in misdemeanor prosecutions is in part discretionary. You may be learning this too. Maybe you're not. If you're not, then maybe you have a law degree. But that's what Bowen, who is a alum of Washington Lee Law School, told me this afternoon by email. Okay, so how this all came about. Oh yeah, for the record, my BA in American government at UVA. I know not the first thing about court rules or procedures. I don't even watch Law and Order. So there you go. This is what I'm working with. Um, Bowen continued his email. I have not participated in the prosecution of citizen obtained criminal complaints for many different types of cases in the past. That decision is made to ensure the complainants have the ability to have their day in court and be heard on the complaint prepared and obtained by them personally. All right, so technicality here. I prepared the complaint because I prepared a complaint. I'll tell you more about that in a second, too. I don't know that it could be said that I obtained the actual arrest warrant on this case on my own. You can't do that anywhere. An individual in this case, like me, files a complaint. A magistrate hears the complaint and then decides whether or not there's enough evidence to merit a criminal charge. If there's not, there's no case, there's no charges, there's no arrests. That's it. I can't just go and represent the Commonwealth against some guy. And in this case, the guy's named Jeffrey Wayne Armentrout. He's the owner of the Stanton-based Armentrout Towing, Old Dixie Towing. Um, this case has been weird from the get-go. I mentioned that the political rally was April 5th. That was, part of it was one of the first, it was maybe the first big national day of protests across the country. There were more than 1,200 across the country. There was one in Stanton, about 500 people, good, well attended for this area, I thought. And I'm an eyewitness in this case, not a victim. There fortunately are no victims in this case. I was standing on a sidewalk in front of the Augusta County Courthouse around 12:40 p.m. on April 5th as Jeffrey Wayne Armentrout, who was identified to the police. They didn't share that information with me right away. And then to me by folks who helped crowdsource this investigation on Facebook. He was the driver of a 2000 Ford F-350 with neo-Nazi insignia on the front bumper that was idling at a stoplight in front of the courthouse. And then when the light turned from red to green, he blew a really tall tower of smoke through a modified smokestack. That's the rolling coal, as it's called. And then drove at a high rate of speed, squealing tires through the intersection. Interestingly enough, so we're all seeing this, hearing this. I'm a few feet away from. I mean, I'm on the sidewalk, and the guy. It felt like I'm only slightly exaggerating. It felt like I could reach out and touch the truck. It was so close. All right, as he drove by, a Stanton police cruiser was at the intersection, and as soon as Armentrout drove through, squealing his tires, going at a high rate of speed. The police cruiser initiated a brief pursuit. They went about a block away to a parking lot in the wharf, as it's called in Stanton. I followed. I took a picture and posted it online. And Armentrout was only given a verbal warning. I didn't find that out until April 7th, 2 days later on the Monday after this Saturday afternoon rally. A police spokesperson told us on April 7th that the officer only gave Armentrout a verbal warning, quote, as they did not witness any reckless driving themselves, which means they were not either cognizant, they were eating a donut. I don't know what the heck they could have been doing because the guy was, I mean, there's video of this, which I'll present in court tomorrow, which I presented to the magistrate. Did not witness any reckless driving themselves. But the spokesperson also told me in that email that The driver had been identified. I knew that because I took a picture of the cop talking to the guy. And quote, anyone who witnessed him spinning tires can obtain a reckless driving summons on him if they want to by coming to the police department and going before the magistrate. Challenge accepted. So what we did here at AFP, didn't think it would lead to anything, honestly. Had no idea that it would lead to a magistrate actually doing anything with this. But we got the ball rolling. We posted a note on our Facebook page, 92,000 followers on Facebook. Hey, if you were there at the rally, you saw anything, you got any video, any photos, share them with us. And we'll see what we can collect. Within a week, we had video, we had photos, we had eyewitness accounts, and I went to the magistrate. I went to the police department, filled out a complaint. The magistrate heard me by telework or whatever you want to, by video. He was at the magistrate was at I guess the Augusta the Middle River Regional Jail. I think that's where they're housed. Um, and a half hour of me just showing the video, showing the pictures, describing the scene, being questioned at length by the magistrate. A police officer was there, but did not even nod to anything, much less anything else. Um, and to my surprise, at the end of this process, yeah, the magistrate decided that he would issue an arrest warrant, and charges were filed. So my complaint was reviewed on April 15th. Then an arrest warrant was issued a day later. On May 2nd, I was served with a subpoena to be a witness in this case, um, which is set for tomorrow, July 18th at 11 a.m. Now, there are 76 days between May 2nd and July 18th. No one from the Commonwealth Attorney's Office made contact with me in any way, shape, or form in the intervening days, 75 days. No, and I initiated the contact last night because I'm looking at the schedule. Hey, I've not heard from anybody there. It seems to me that the Commonwealth Attorney's Office would probably like to have reviewed the evidence that was presented to the magistrate, maybe hear from the witness, see if there are other witnesses. Just in my imagination, I thought, oh yeah, sure. I'm sure the police department's probably gone out and found some people who were also there that day. They didn't ask me for that help, but the police don't need me. The Commonwealth Attorney doesn't need me. They have their own investigation procedures, right? So last night I sent an email. I get and put in contact with Mr. Bowen here, a young man, 2019 grad of Western LA, so a young fella, I presume, who I guess the way it was explained to me is that there are several assistants in the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, and each has responsibility for certain days on the General District Court docket. That's where this is held. It's a misdemeanor reckless driving charge, so it's a misdemeanor case. General District Court, not Circuit Court. Um, and so, Mr. Bowen, I reach out. Hey, here you go. Nobody's contacting me. Tell me what's going on, please, if you can. And he initially got back to me this morning asking for any evidence that I had to share in the case, which I did. We responded back with two videos and a photo. And then I also shared that, hey, I've done research on this on Google and found that blah, blah, blah. That was probably something I shouldn't have done because I actually thought twice about that. Like, why am I telling a licensed attorney, like what research I did into case law? Because I'm just doing it as a journalist. I'm not doing it as a prosecutor. Um, Bowen wrote back to me, it seems you're prepared in terms of your understanding of the law, as well as what types of evidence will be required. That's why he's letting me do this. Less than 24 hours before the case is to be heard, I am told that I am now the de facto prosecutor in this case. This thing is so unfathomable to me that I feel like maybe somebody's filming a pilot for a reboot of the TV show Punked. Ashton Kutcher's around some corner somewhere tomorrow when I get there. I mean, as if, right? But I mean, a magistrate 3 months ago decided there was enough evidence to charge Armin Trout with misdemeanor reckless driving. I can't just charge I can't charge anybody with anything. I'm just a citizen just like anybody watching this right now. A magistrate who has that power heard the evidence presented, saw the evidence presented, said, yes, there's enough evidence to hold over for a misdemeanor charge. 2 weeks later, I'm subpoenaed to appear as a witness in the case. A day before the case, I'm told I'm Hamilton Burger all of a sudden. Perry Mason reference from childhood. Sorry for those who didn't grow up on Perry Mason. I'll assume that Mr. Bowen just doesn't want the loss on his record. I guess. I don't know how. I don't know if that's even a thing. Like if there's a one loss record and that kind of thing. But I'll take the L because I mean, let's just go here. I mean, I know that Jeffrey Wayne Armentrout has a lawyer just because Mr. Bowen here in this case told me he was going to forward my the evidence that I sent to Mr. Armentrout's attorney. So yeah, I'm going up against an actual attorney. Um, and look, I'm going to be in court in front of a judge. I don't know I don't know. I don't know criminal procedure. I don't know civil procedure. I don't know procedure. I mean, I don't. Again, I don't watch Law and Order. I don't watch court TV. Um, and so, that's not important. I mean, yeah, I want to be fair. I think Jeffrey Armentrout committed a crime. I wouldn't have gone through this process if I didn't think that. But I mean, he's the one facing the unlikelihood of if he were convicted, 12 months in jail. It's not, I mean, one, he's not going to be convicted, but if he was, he wouldn't get 12 months in jail. But that's the exposure. It's a class one misdemeanor, 12 months in jail. I think a $2,500 fine is the exposure here. So, I mean, his rights there are much more important than my rights to not have to be a prosecutor in this case. But um, I get to take the L. Commonwealth Attorney's Office gets an early lunch. The case is at 11 o'clock tomorrow in Stanton General District Court. So maybe this goes 2 minutes. I don't know. Maybe I don't get an early lunch, but either way, life goes on. The part about me taking the L where I referenced Hamilton Burger, I wrote that when I was writing this story, I kind of wrote that. I stopped, went and got lunch, let it sit, try to do that with some stories sometimes. Come back and I'm like, hey, Hamilton Burger, yeah, this actually fits because I'm already 0-2 in court cases where I was the attorney who has not having a law license. I sued Augusta County in 2023 under the Freedom of Information Act for access to an MP3 file of an illegal meeting that was held by the County Board of Supervisors. Um, the way that process works, you start in General District Court. I did that, lost there. You can appeal to the Circuit Court. I did that. Sort of won. I mean, got a little sliver of like minor concession that there was some possibility I might get access to the file, which was quashed. So, yeah, that's, so I'm 0-2 as a pretend lawyer. Um, and so with the Hamilton Burger reference, whoever Jeffrey Wayne Armentrout has as his lawyer doesn't have to be Perry Mason, but tomorrow I'm going to make him look like that. So, yeah, of course, I'll have another report on this tomorrow. This is just absurd. Stanton is afraid to deal with a guy who wanted to menace people at a political rally because he disagrees with the way they think politically. And he could have very easily lost control of that vehicle, which was driving at a high rate of speed, enough to squeal the tires, and plowed into a crowd of people. We've seen that happen at numerous places in this country and across the world in the last couple of years. And Stanton doesn't want to deal with it. They're making a private citizen do the police investigatory work and now the prosecution work on this case. So I guess my last word on this will be, hey, I'm doing it. Um, I don't think I'm anything close to a hero or anything, but I mean, I hope that if you're watching this all the way to the end, you get the idea that we don't have to sit back and let tyranny get to us here, because that's what's happening. I mean, we got people who want to menace people because they oppose the president. Um, and the local police and the local prosecutor's office don't want to hold them accountable. We can hold them accountable. I'm proving it.